This is an iHeart podcast. Guaranteed human.
Introducing the all-new Mazda CX-5, featuring more connection.
Hey Google, where's the nearest Pilates class?
Safety that has your back. More discovery on the scenic routes. More passion in the details. And more control in changing weather. The all-new Mazda CX-5. More to move every side of you. See it in 5 films at MazdaUSA.com/5sides.
Google is a trademark of Google LLC. Sequences shortened and simulated.
The springtime thaw is finally here. Flowers are blooming. Days are longer. We're saying yes to more plans and finally getting outside. Running, walking, just moving again. It's the perfect time to upgrade your everyday go-tos with Bombas. Take Bombas sports socks. They're super comfortable and designed with sport-specific tech for running, cycling, yoga, hiking, you name it. I use them to run in, and I can tell you they work beautifully. So head over to bombas.com and use code SYSK for 20% off your first purchase. That's BOMBAS.com, code SYSK at checkout.
Welcome to Stuff You Should Know, a production of iHeartRadio.
Kazam, and welcome to the podcast. I'm Josh Clark, and there's Charles W. Chuck Bryan over there, and Jerry's here. She's invisible, but here. And this is the Mystery Magic Podcast Hour, a.k.a. Stuff You Should Know.
I feel like we haven't covered much magic-related stuff, have we?
Not nearly enough.
Oh, yeah? You into it?
Yeah, I find it interesting for sure. And I think magicians are pretty cool people typically.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you know, Toby, our friend Toby.
Uh-huh.
He and I were talking about working on a magic podcast, kind of like a Magic Skeptics podcast.
Oh, that'd be great.
With a couple of his good friends, and they're just cool dudes, chill people, interesting, very witty, sharp, not pink boys at all.
You guys should totally do that.
Oh, this is years and years ago.
Oh, so that ship, well, he's a big movie producer now.
Yeah, that ship's
He's
safe.
like, magic podcast? No, thank you. Well, I'm glad to know that you found some cool magicians.
Yeah, are you not familiar with cool magicians?
No, I mean, the magicians I know about are decidedly uncool.
Oh, I see. Like Ben Stiller in Arrested Development.
Ben Stiller in Arrested Development?
Yeah, he was Job's rival.
Oh, right.
You know?
God, I forgot about that.
Had kind of a white snake thing going on.
I think I'm thinking mainly about the time I went to the Magic Castle in Los Angeles, and I felt like one of the cooler people there, which is unusual in a room full of a lot of people.
I don't mean like Fonz cool. I mean cool in the fact that they're like interesting, they are sharp, they're quick-witted, they will take your wallet from you if you're not careful. That kind of cool, you know what I mean?
Okay.
Yeah.
Was Houdini cool?
In a lot of ways, he was very cool.
Not the band.
In a lot, no, that's pretty great
super
reference.
cool.
They were very cool. In a lot of ways, I think he was cool. In some other ways, he wasn't necessarily super cool. But I think overall, you could say, yes, Houdini was cool in the sense that a good magician is cool.
Yeah, this is one of those guys where I did a little digging to see if we needed to like see if he was some monster in his personal life.
Right.
I didn't see anything like that. I think he was a pretty intense guy.
Yeah.
And I'm sure a man of the time, but I didn't see anything that jumped out at me. We should mention big thanks to, a bunch of things. History.com, Smithsonian Magazine, which is always great. PBS, New Yorker, and of course, thegreatharryhoudini.com.
Yes. There's also a couple of other sites that I got some stuff from, like Wild About Harry is a good Houdini site. And there's this documentary series by a site called Timeline. And the one I saw was hosted by Alan Davies. It's called Life and Magic of the Real Harry Houdini. And it was just like this, hour-long, pretty cool little documentary. I thought it was very neat. I got a lot of good info from that, too. It's on YouTube, too.
Well, I was into Houdini when I was a kid for a short time, and I think that it was probably just because it was a short time where I was, and I think a lot of kids go through a magic phase, whether it's going to a trick shop and getting a fake deck or learning your first dumb little card trick that's not very good, but you think it's awesome. it's just something that I feel like almost every kid goes through a brief little magic phase.
For sure.
And sometimes it sticks and you become super cool, evidently.
That's right, exactly. So I saw a couple of things that seemed to support that he wasn't a monster, by the way, Chuck. One of them was that he would go to like the children's ward in hospitals and perform magic for the kids.
And beat them up?
Yeah, take their money.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, but I mean, like, if you think about it, that's not something that just anybody does, you know?
Sure.
Like, that's time he could be spending doing something else. He was, like, almost pathologically devoted to his mother, making sure that she was well taken care of. I think also I saw that was like possibly a driver of his ambition as well, that he wanted to be mom's favorite and impress her more than any of his siblings because he was one of 6.
Yeah, and also that his father was never much of a success, which we'll get to. And I think those are definitely the big drivers. But he himself called himself a mama's boy. Like he used those two words together. Yeah.
There's a famous picture of him with his wife Bess and his mother, and he's got like his arms around both of them, and he calls them my 2 girls or my 2 sweethearts or something like that. So I know, hats off to Bess for being like, all right, let's go with it. We're going to go with it. I'm definitely not going to try to pry that one loose. It's not going to work. So we're just going to go with it. And I say good for her.
All right. Well, should we get into it?
Yeah, let's, because you said something about his father, and I think that that's an important thing to understand about Houdini from the get-go, is that he was essentially born into poverty, and it just got worse as he got older, because his father was a rabbi, and if there is such a thing, his father was a failed rabbi. He couldn't make it as a rabbi.
I know. I was surprised to see that, because everywhere I looked, it would continually say, like, boy, his dad just couldn't make the rabbi racket work.
Right.
And I kind of naively assumed that if you were sort of giving up a life of trying to make, money as a capitalist for a living by going to the church and being a steward of the church, then you would at least do okay.
You'd think so, but I think that means that he was so charmless, he couldn't even muster up a congregation to surround him. So he was a hard luck kind of guy, and as a result, Harry was raised in poverty, had to go to work from a very young age, and also missed out on a formal education as a result too. And so those things kind of converge to also, I think, kind of drive him to prove himself that, maybe he didn't go to school and maybe he was born poor, but he could still be a superstar. He could still amaze people. He could still be idolized, basically.
Yeah, his dad's name was Meyer Weiss. His mom was Cecilia Steiner Weiss, and he was born Erich, Ehrich Weiss, in March of 1874 in Hungary, in Budapest. But he, when he was 4, he came over and joined the family in Wisconsin. And his dad did manage to have a small congregation in Wisconsin, I think in Appleton. And they changed, the immigration officers changed the name to Weiss with 2 S's instead of an SZ. And Eric went by Airy, Ehrie. And the only reason I mention Airy is because that comes into play later when he takes on the name Harry, is sort of an Americanized version of that name.
Right. So that's where the Harry came from.
Yes.
He started working, I think, when he was still single digits. But he started performing also around that same time, too. When he was 9, he made his debut as a trapeze artist, Eric, the Prince of the Air.
Nice.
And he was always of rather short stature. I think he topped out at 5 feet 5 inches.
5.5?
5.5. But he was extremely fit. He decided early on that he wanted to be very athletic as much as he could be. So he really, he was doing things when he moved to New York a few years later, he was doing things like running 5 miles around Central Park every day, which is super commonplace today. But, in the late 19th century,
people didn't jog.
That was weird. Yeah. I mean, God knows what kind of shoes he was wearing for that kind of thing, but he would do that kind of stuff. So he was short of stature, but also very athletic, self-taught too.
Yeah, so like you said, they eventually landed in New York after, Rabbi Weiss was not doing so well, so he was kind of always on the move, trying to find somebody to listen to him.
Right.
And they eventually get to New York, and in 1891, which would have been, what's the math there? 16-ish, 17-ish.
Oh, wait, are you trying to figure out before Ghostbusters?
No, I was trying to figure out how old he was.
Oh, okay.
I think he was like 16 or 17 when he teamed up with his buddy Jacob Hyman.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, Hyman.
Hyman.
Yeah. Why did that look weird on the paper?
You may be having a stroke.
I hope not. The brothers Houdini is what they call themselves, and Harry, again, is what he went by because of Airy. And then as far as Houdini goes, his favorite French magician's last name was Robert Houdin. So he threw an I on there.
Yep.
And all of a sudden he's Harry Houdini forevermore.
Yeah, I think so. I saw in that documentary that somebody told him that adding an I to a name in French means that you're saying you're like that person. So he was saying Houdini, like he's like Houdin, who was his idol for at least while he was growing up. And then apparently later on, he kind of turned on him and exposed all of his secrets after the guy had died, which was actually not cool.
It is not cool. And I think there was also a tradition of the I name on those kind of acts. Like,
yes, but I think he may have started that.
Oh, really?
I'm not sure, but he
like
was
the Blondinis and
right. I think as far as magic goes, he may have been the originator of that, because I saw some of like one of his other contemporaries who helped kind of train him was last name Heller. There was a Haller. Like there was no other eyes that I saw.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right, so he kicked off the big eye craze.
Yeah, that's still going crazy today.
It is, the iPhone. So I think his dad died in 1892. Harry is 18 at this point, and he does a very unusual thing in that he actually leaves his mom behind, along with his brothers, which was a big deal for him, like you said, because he was a self-professed mama's boy. Mm-hmm. And he took off on the road, doing his act kind of through New York, through the Midwest. Was doing okay. He was performing kind of all around. It was a bit of a grind with Hyman. Still sounds weird, and not because of what you think.
Right.
And then 1894, his younger brother replaced Hyman just for a short while, because later that year he would meet 18-year-old Brooklynite named Wilhelmina Beatrice Ronner, or Bess, and she became his magic partner. And, they called them assistants.
Yeah.
She would have been the one on stage, looking pretty and doing all the flourishes. And it's a tradition in magic that I know, I don't want to use the word problematic, but it has changed in more recent years.
Sure. Yeah, but this is at the time when a magician's assistant was,
A lady in a bathing suit?
Yeah, basically. And Bess was no exception to that. Although if you read some of the descriptions of some of the illusions and tricks that they did together, she was just as much a magician in her own right as he was.
Yeah, exactly.
She definitely got her training from him. I think he discovered her in a singing troupe. But like she grew to be just as adept at magic and sleight of hand as her husband, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, it's interesting the things that have become boys' clubs over the years. Mm-hmm. And like magic is definitely one of them. It's changed a lot over the years, but it always, go into the Magic Castle and you're mainly going to see male performers and a bunch of old men dressed in suits. Mm-hmm. It's just, I find it odd that it's something that maybe just appeals to young boys. I don't know. My sister wasn't into magic, and my brother and I were. So
I know,
maybe
but
there's something to it.
How much of that is just like the gender norms and expectations of society, where it wasn't like presented to your sister in a way that it's like, hey, isn't this interesting?
Sure. Like everything else.
Yeah, there was a documentary I saw. I'm sure I mentioned it before years ago about these like up and coming teenage magicians who are all trying to make their way through competitions to the Magic Castle, to like a grand showcase, and they follow these ones. There was at least one girl that I remember, and she was good. But she must have been 13, 14 at the time and had been into it for years. So clearly there's something, that appeals to some girls too, even if it's not directed toward them.
I love it.
Yeah, it's a great documentary. You got to see it. And by the way, since we're speaking of documentaries, you have, of course, seen Love on the Spectrum, have you not?
No, you recommended that a few weeks ago. I still haven't seen it.
Just stop. I'll give you about 6 hours.
Okay.
You just go watch and we'll come back and finish recording, okay?
All right. Well, then another 3 weeks you can bring it up again.
You just have to see it, okay?
I'll see it.
It's like a gift. I'm giving you a gift here.
Oh, did you make it?
No, just telling you about it as a gift is what I'm trying to say. It's that sweet.
All right. Well, everyone watch Love on the Spectrum, and we're going to take a break, and we're going to talk about Houdini's eventual success right after this. On eBay, every find has a story. Like if you're looking for a vintage band tee, not just a tee, the band tee from the last show your favorite band ever played. You wore it everywhere. Then your girlfriend started wearing it, which was cute, until she dumped you and took it with her, which was not so cute.
Yeah, well, anyway, now you're on eBay. And there it is. Same tee from the same tour. Still living in your memory, rent-free forever.
See, the things you love have a way of finding their way back to you. But eBay isn't just for getting whatever your ex-boyfriend or girlfriend stole back, right?
No, it's also for that rare championship foul ball you caught, then heroically gave to the kid next to you. And where else are you going to find your first car? The one you wish you'd never sold. But now, finally get the chance to take it back home. For good this time.
So shop eBay for millions of finds, each with a story. eBay. Things people love.
If you're a business owner or an entrepreneur, you know how hard it is to get things done fast and well. Why not have both?
That's right. That's why Wix Harmony stands out. It's a website builder that helps create a site quickly without compromising your vision. You can build a fully functional website for any type of business by just describing what you want. Then everything can be customized and edited to get it exactly right.
There's also built-in support to help answer questions or guide you along the way. And here's what makes it even better. You can click anywhere on your site and make changes instantly. It's these details that make creating with Wix Harmony feel seamless.
That's right. So join millions of businesses already using Wix and try Wix Harmony for free at wix.com/harmony. That's wix.com/harmony.
The springtime thaw is finally here. Flowers are blooming, days are longer. We're saying yes to more plans and finally getting outside, running, walking, just moving again. It's the perfect time to upgrade your everyday go-tos with Bombas. Take Bombas sports socks. They're super comfortable and designed with sport-specific tech for running, cycling, yoga, hiking, you name it. I use them to run in, and I can tell you they work beautifully. So head over to bombas.com and use code SYSK for 20% off your first purchase. That's BOMBAS.com, code SYSK at checkout.
So you're considering getting a home security system, but you want something that fits your space. Well, with ADT Blue, it's easy to customize a system that's right for you and set it up yourself. Just pick the kit and monitoring plan that makes sense for your home.
Yeah, well, let's say you're worried about package theft right off your front porch. The ADT Plus app can walk you through setting up a new doorbell camera kit. Once it's installed, ADT Pros can help you keep tabs on it 24/7, or you can manage it yourself from the ADT Plus app.
That's right. There are no long-term contracts, so you can change your monitoring plan whenever you want. The flexibility doesn't end there either. You can add to your system as you need with things like extra cameras or motion sensors.
Some life decisions are hard, but thanks to ADT Blue, you can get DIY trusted ADT home security in a snap. Head to ADT.com/BLU to build your system today. And to find out more about home protection, check out a new episode of Grown Up Stuff with security expert Joe Mazza, out now on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
All right.
So we got Houdini and we got Bess together, and now things can begin in earnest. And they kind of pick up together what Houdini had started, which was very small little venues, sometimes a sideshow, sometimes a museum, like a P.T. Barnum type museum if they were lucky. They were just kind of there, almost part of the woodwork or the furniture, with other stuff going on. They weren't doing actual shows. And if they were doing a show, it was a small act in a larger circus. And it was a grind from what I understand.
Yeah, I mean, travel back then was not as, it's still a grind, but it definitely wasn't fun.
Yeah.
And they were on the road all the time. And then finally in 1899, they met a man named Martin Beck, who was a big name and a big up-and-comer in the vaudeville scene, which at the time, I mean, you think of vaudeville now as like these kind of little shows, but at the time, that was kind of the peak of the touring world and the live theater world. If you were doing vaudeville, that was sort of top of the pops. And he saw them perform in St. Paul, Minnesota, and was really knocked out. He did this one of his handcuff escapes. Yeah. And he also took these challenges. He was very famous for people saying, hey, can you do this? Can you get out of these? And it really, he would do this in public, and it would help like promote his brand basically and get a lot of press. And he was challenged with a pair of handcuffs from Beck, and he got out of those. And Beck said, kid, you got it. Be in Omaha in March, and I'll pay you $60, which is about $1,800 today. So it was good money. And all of a sudden, they are killing it on the vaudeville circuit.
Yeah, his cable to them said, I might proposition you for all next season as well. So it was like, it was a big deal. It wasn't just that one show. It was like, okay, you've just made it to the big time. And so all of a sudden they're in with Martin Beck, who basically is the king of the Western circuit of the vaudeville. And they're playing all over the place, making a lot more money than they were before, playing fewer shows, putting in fewer hours on stage, and getting compensated better for it. They're like, all right, this is pretty great. I can go with this.
Yeah, and he would, I mentioned that when he would go to these towns, he would do these challenges and stunts for the public and the press. And one of the things he did that would later come back to bite him a little bit was he would always, like, the cops would come out, and he would have the cops lock him up and put him in handcuffs and do all this stuff. Which was great press, of course, but as we'll see later on in Germany, that didn't go over so well with the cops. But he was known because of this as the king of handcuffs, and also the celebrated police baffler.
Yeah, I mean, and not only did it kind of drum up like attention in a new town where they may not have heard of him. This guy shows up to a police station, says, "Put me in jail," and then gets out like in 5 minutes or something like that. But also the cops end up talking to the press, and they say, we have no idea how he did it. So now you have an official endorsement that you just got for free out of like the cops and the local police, So it was like it was a very smart thing to do. And he would do that from town to town to, like you said, drum up publicity, and also to sell tickets. Like this would be a way that his shows would go from, moving ho-hum and then to sell out with one of his publicity stunts. So he was really good at that kind of thing.
All right, so he's making all this dough. He tries to get a tour together with Beck to go to Europe because if you really, back then it wasn't, if you can make it in New York, you can make it anywhere. It was if you could make it in Europe, you could make it anywhere. And Beck was sort of not too high on that idea. So I think they had a falling out, and Houdini put a tour together for he and Bess for themselves to go, kind of run their own show. And they did. They went to Europe and were equally as successful all over Europe and the UK, performing this, these feats of escape.
Yeah, and Russia too. He basically did a world tour over the course of 5 years. He and Bess did. They just they said, let's do it. We're gonna try to really kind of make this to the next level. And he took the same kind of publicity chasing stuff from town to town that he did in the U.S. that served him so well. He did the same thing in Europe too. And he and Bess really kind of upped the act around that time. Like they started coming with more and more like grander illusions and tricks and stagecraft, and the European thing was a huge success, and that's what catapulted him into like superstardom. He became an international star thanks to that 5-year tour.
Yeah, and that was in Germany. How I mentioned earlier, the police there, I don't think liked the fact, the German police aren't known for their senses of humor. And I don't think they thought it was super cool that he would go over there and sort of not make a fool of them, but I think some of them may have taken it that way. So a police officer in Cologne, Germany, accused him of fraud at one point. Houdini fired back that is slander. And then I think he had to go to court and expose some of his tricks, which he wasn't too wild about, but he had, in order to get out of it, he had to kind of expose how he did some of these tricks. But it did work, and he did get out of it.
Yeah, and now he had an official court endorsement that he was no fraud. He was an actual true magician. Yeah. So, and it was a big deal, too, because Germany at the time was under the Kaiser, who ruled it with an authoritarian state, or ruled an authoritarian state. And to take on Germany and then prevail, like it took chutzpah, as his dad might have said, you know? So, after that, they kind of go back to America, I think in 1905, after 5 years of touring Europe.
With a lot of money.
Yeah, a lot of money, a lot more stardom. This could have been a really easy time for he and Bess to just settle down and say, you know what, we made it, we're rich, we're good, we can retire forever. Let's just live the good life. And they made some attempts to that. I think Bess really was ready to settle down, and I think Houdini was saying he would. So they bought a brownstone in Harlem. There was a farm in Connecticut they bought. Mom moved in with them, and he was making the gestures of settling down. And then he said, "You know what? I've got to get back out there. I'm getting stale."
Yeah, I mean, I think one of my big takeaways from reading about his life was that, and we'll get into some of his inventions later, but he was really an innovator, and he was never content to just sort of sit back and do the same old tricks. I think he always wanted to invent new stuff, new gadgets, and new tricks to do for people. And I think it was in 1908 that he had he developed his milk can escape, one of his more famous, because this is, he did a couple of things where basically he was like, I might die if this doesn't work. And those were always the biggest tricks.
Yeah, and in that one, it was a milk can, an oversized milk can, which is like a giant metal can that a human could conceivably fit into if they were very small and 5'5".
Right.
And it was filled with water, and he would get in there, and they would padlock the top and put it behind a curtain, and then 2 minutes later, he would tell the audience try to hold your breath along with me, which just really raised the tension in the theater. And then 2 minutes later, he would come up from around the curtain, soaking wet and out of breath, but amazing, triumphant, and everybody would just go nuts. And then that milk can, I don't know if it was his originally or if he innovated it from somebody else, but he found out later that there were imitators doing the same thing, and he hated that kind of stuff. He hated imitators. He hated people using his work, whether they credited him or not. He just did not like that kind of thing. But then that would push him to innovate further. So he just abandoned the milk can altogether, which had brought him so much success, and moved on to increasingly more dangerous things. His greatest invention was the Chinese water torture cell, which is kind of similar to the milk can, but just even more nuts and even more dangerous.
Yeah, that's easily his most famous trick. That's the one that you always see if you look up Houdini's greatest tricks. It's like you said, it's the same thing, but it's a clear tank of water, and he is lowered from his ankles. I think sometimes cuffed, sometimes in a straitjacket, and you can see him, and of course, then they raise the curtain, so you can't see what's going on. Are we going to tell people how he does some of this stuff?
I'll tell you what, since there's so much to say about him anyway, we probably don't have time, but there's a really great Gizmodo article that says the secrets behind Houdini's 10 greatest tricks that really does a great job of explaining it, IMO.
Yeah, I mean, let's just say this. Houdini was very good at things like getting out of handcuffs. He was a master of locks and lock picking. So he did learn tons and tons of skills. It's not to say that if a magician has a trick and you learn how to do it, that they're not skilled. But when it comes to some, these contraptions, they're rigged, of course. It's not real magic. He didn't purport to be doing real magic. He just wanted to be a performer and delight audiences, and he did that. Yeah,
sometimes the answer is really simple, there's hinges, or it's not really
those are
padlocked.
Fake rivets.
Yeah, exactly. They're when you find these explanations, you're oh, that's still pretty interesting that he was able to do this. And a lot of times, he would take longer purposefully than he needed to. He could get out of these things in a matter of seconds, but he might say take 2 minutes to appear, just to keep the tension ratcheted up and just make it that much more amazing. But he also, some of the sleight of hand that he and Bess would do, I read that his handcuff tricks, he was the guy who started handcuff tricks. like escaping from handcuffs. And when somebody came up and said, like, I had these cuffs specially made for you, and I want to see if you can get out of them. Like he would ask to examine them, ask to examine the key, and Bess would just kind of be standing there looking too, and she'd make note of what the key looked like, and then she'd slip away without anybody noticing backstage to their huge giant ring O keys, find a key that looks similar, and then like give Harry a kiss or like something like that, and they would exchange keys, and then he would hand their key back to the person and palm the key that they had been letting him inspect, and then manage to swap it out again later on. So like the sleight of hand and like the trickery that was involved in and of itself is masterful. Like I don't like if you take actual magic out of the equation, I don't see how this could be any less impressive. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, every time I've seen, and I haven't been to many magic shows, but like at the Magic Castle, you want to be entertained and you want someone to perform a good trick. No one in the audience, I mean, you want the audience leaving going, boy, how did they do that? Not, was that real? Were they conjuring the dark magic?
Right.
I enjoyed the Magic Castle. I know I've told this on Movie Crush. I don't know if I ever talked about it here, but they have all these small parlor rooms in addition to the big main room where the big show is.
It's just like Eyes Wide Shut.
Yeah, exactly. Fidelio. But the little parlor rooms is really what I enjoy. They were very small, like not many people in there. And that was just like good old-fashioned card tricks and stuff like that, where you're just so well practiced. And those were just always the most fun for me. The big shows, I could take it or leave it.
Well, you would have liked Houdini's early work because that's pretty much what it consisted of, is close-up magic and card tricks.
Yeah, it's like David Blaine. I love all those early specials. But then when he was like, let me go stand on this thing for 3 years, and I didn't really care as much.
I gotcha.
You know?
You didn't like his 3-year standing face. So
he stood on a thing, right? Yeah, he stood on a big tall thing.
He did. I think he was also frozen in a block of ice too, maybe.
Sure.
That was a thing. So Houdini's got like this whole, he just keeps innovating and like just wowing the public more and more. And he keeps going. But there's also like these other things happening at the same time. Like the early 20th century was like a really innovative time if you think about it. One of the things that came out of it was the beginning of movies. And so Houdini was like the kind of person who was like, yes, I can use that to do magic. All I have to do is perform one trick once, capture it on film. We can just show everybody the film. It's going to be great because I'm like 43 now and I'm really starting to feel it. You know, hanging upside down in a straitjacket from a crane 6 stories up or underwater in a tank. Like that wears on a person having to do it night after night after night after night, right? So he was
in front of a few hundred people.
Exactly. So he was really, well, sometimes thousands. Like he could draw a crowd, you know, at the height of his stardom for sure. But he was very much drawn to film for that reason. One of the big problems was he was like zero good at acting from what I've read by all accounts.
Yeah, he was like me, zero good at acting.
I've seen you act. You took that bee sting. I thought you actually got stung by a bee.
I was 1 good. I wasn't 0 good.
Okay.
If we're on a scale of 1 to 100.
Yeah.
I was 1, but man, I was better than Houdini.
Yeah.
But it was the beginning of movies, and people would go see anything that you put up on the silver screen. So he was a big star. He was like one of Hollywood's big first action heroes. And he, like everything he did, went at it full bore and said, all right, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to start a production company and all these other movie ventures. And none of those were super successful, but he did have a brief stint as kind of the big action guy of the day. And these are things that, like, I think most people, Houdini aficionados, of course, know all this stuff. But if you just know Houdini as magician, you may not know that he was a movie star or that he was a pretty advanced inventor, because he's coming up with all of these contraptions and machines himself to do these tricks. And so he realized early on part of the problem with that was if you want to safeguard something, you would file a patent. But in order to file a patent, you have to explicitly show how the thing works. So he was caught in between a rock and a hard place, magician-wise, because he hated being ripped off, but he didn't want to reveal these tricks to get a patent on these machines. A lot of them, if you look through his list of patents that he got, A lot of them he never even ended up using or were abandoned kind of midway through the process of getting them patented. But he found a loophole in performing these things on stage and getting them copywritten as a live act.
Right. So with a patent, you had to explain technically how the whole thing worked. Not the case with copyright.
No, you do a play and you copyright it, and you're good to go. And that's essentially what he did with the Chinese water torture cell. He did a performance in front of, and legendarily, I don't know if this is true or not, but it's a pretty good story, in front of one single person live on stage as a one-act play, and that enabled him to copyright it in England.
Yeah, I think he also copyrighted maybe the Metamorphosis.
Which was one of his earlier tricks.
Yeah, which he would just write a play, and then in the play, this trick would happen. He would describe the trick, but he didn't describe how the trick worked. He just described, say, from like the audience's vantage point, and then bam, it was copywritten, and anybody who tried that same trick would be infringing on his copyright.
Pretty smart.
I think we got to talk about that Metamorphosis for a second, though. It's worth saying. So he
turned himself into a butterfly.
It was, he turned himself into Franz Kafka.
That'd be even better.
That's a very literary joke. So Bess would be standing there, helping him get into a sack, would pull the drawstring at the top of the sack. He would get into a box. The box would be chained, trussed, padlocked. And then Bess would put a screen up, clap 3 times, and then on the third clap, the screen would come down and it would be Houdini standing there. He would unlock the box and open up the giant mailbag, and there was Bess popped out. And we're talking in a matter of seconds. Of seconds this thing happened. And that was the Metamorphosis. And that was a really good example of how good Bess got, because apparently they could trade places in reality with this trick. And you can find out how it worked at that Gizmodo article. But they had it down to where she could change places with him in 3 seconds.
You're doing Gizmodo a big service here.
Well, Gizmodo did the world a big service by writing that article, so I'm just paying it forward backward.
I guess before we break, let's talk a little bit about his aviation career. Can we do that?
Yeah. Because
if you're thinking aviator, Harry Houdini, the answer is yes. Because he was such a driven man, he would and performer. The Wright brothers had proved that you could fly, so he was like, I need to get in on that, because what's better to draw a crowd out in public than to do something like flying? So he bought a biplane for about $5,000 in Europe, which is a lot of money back then. Still a lot of money, but it's even more because it's modern times,
right?
Because of inflation.
Sure.
And he took it to Australia. Supposedly took out the first life insurance policy for an airplane accident in the history of the world, and toured Australia and was the very first person to fly an airplane on Australian soil. Yeah, that's pretty historic if you think about it. And that was like another good example of there was this new innovative thing going on and he wanted in on it, so he went and did it. And then until he didn't want to do it. Right. Once it became kind of commonplace, he's like, oh, I'm done flying. Yeah. That was Houdini. All right, so we'll take our last break here, and we'll come back and talk about his battle with the spiritualist and his odd demise right after this. On eBay, every find has a story. Like if you're looking for a vintage band tee, not just a tee, the band tee from the last show your favorite band ever played. You wore it everywhere. Then your girlfriend started wearing it, which was cute, until she dumped you and took it with her, which was not so cute. Yeah, well, anyway, now you're on eBay. And there it is. Same tee from the same tour. Still living in your memory, rent-free forever. See, the things you love have a way of finding their way back to you. But eBay isn't just for getting whatever your ex-boyfriend or girlfriend stole back, right? No, it's also for that rare championship foul ball you caught, then heroically gave to the kid next to you. And where else are you going to find your first car? The one you wish you'd never sold. But now, finally get the chance to take it back home. For good this time. So shop eBay for millions of finds, each with a story. eBay. Things people love.
If you're a business owner or an entrepreneur, you know how hard it is to get things done fast and well. Why not have both?
That's right. That's why Wix Harmony stands out. It's a website builder that helps create a site quickly without compromising your vision. You can build a fully functional website for any type of business by just describing what you want. Then everything can be customized and edited to get it exactly right.
There's also built-in support to help answer questions or guide you along the way. And here's what makes it even better. You can click anywhere on your site and make changes instantly. It's these details that make creating with Wix Harmony feel seamless.
That's right. So join millions of businesses already using Wix and try Wix Harmony for free at wix.com/harmony. That's wix.com/harmony. Hey everybody, here's a fact for you. In the United States, there is a break-in every 26 seconds, and that means that somewhere right now, an intruder is getting closer. And the problem with most security systems is that they only alert you after the break-in has started, and that's too late.
Well, that's what makes SimpliSafe different. They use alerts. SimpliSafe's US-based live agents, they identify threats on your property and help deter them before they actually break in. So the intruder never gets into your house. The crime is stopped before it even starts.
That's right. And another great thing about SimpliSafe is they have no long-term contracts. They give you peace of mind and great value with their monitoring deterrence plans because they just start at about $1 a day.
Yeah, SimpliSafe sent us a setup years back, and I still use mine every day.
Yeah, and apparently setup, you can do it by yourself in under 30 minutes, so it's a really good value and it doesn't take long.
So if you want to experience the SimpliSafe peace of mind, you can take advantage of the SimpliSafe discount offered to Stuff You Should Know listeners. Right now, you can get 50% off your new system by visiting simplisafe.com/stuff. That's half off at simplisafe.com/stuff. There's no safe like SimpliSafe.
Work can be a little weird. One minute you're in a meeting that could have been an email. The next you're trying to decode corporate jargon that somehow means nothing. And don't even get us started on the quick sync that turns into a 45-minute deep dive.
Yeah, well, the truth is figuring out your career isn't always straightforward. Whether you're trying to grow, pivot, or just stay relevant, it can feel like you're navigating it all on your own. Well, that's where LinkedIn comes in.
That's right. LinkedIn can help you grow your career, helping you confidently navigate your path with insights, ideas, and inspiration from your professional community. You can stay up to date with the latest trends in your field, connect with people who get it, and discover opportunities tailored to your goals, your experience, and what actually matters to you.
Whether you're looking for something new or just trying to grow where you are, LinkedIn gives you the tools and connections to move forward with confidence. Because LinkedIn is the network that works for you. Visit linkedin.com/knowstuff to learn more. Okay, Chuck, you promised a battle with the spiritualists, and I want to hear about it. Even though I think we kind of talked a little bit about Houdini in our spiritualism episode. And I know we definitely talked about his death. Yeah, there's just no way. And I know we talked about his death in our appendix episode, not to give too much away.
Yeah, he's kind of appeared a couple of times. Mm-hmm. So he hated the spiritualism movement. From the very beginning, it seemed like, again, he was a performer and a magician who performed these really well thought out tricks. But the idea from him was never, I'm really doing this stuff. I'm a master at performing these escapes. Mm-hmm. He was really rubbed by the spiritualists because he thought they were trying to con everybody, because they were, mm-hmm. by saying, we're really doing this stuff. And he's like, no, you're just performing like me, but you're saying you're really doing it. And I don't like that.
Yeah, you're taking advantage of people's grief, probably fleecing money out of them. Like, there's a lot wrong with what you're doing. And apparently, so he was good friends for a brief time with Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, the guy who wrote the Sherlock Holmes mysteries, who was at least as famous as Houdini by this time. We're talking the early 1920s, if not more famous because of Sherlock Holmes. And Doyle was a huge adherent of spiritualism, enormous, one of the most gullible, smart people who ever lived. And Houdini really wanted to be friends with him, so he kind of kept his sentiments about spiritualism to himself. And the Doyles invited Houdini over for a seance because by this time Houdini's mom had died. And apparently he fainted dead away when he got the news. Like, he was in Europe at the time. And when he woke up, he was just sobbing uncontrollably. I'm sure he still went on stage. That was just what Houdini did. But he took it rather hard. So when the Doyles invited him over for a seance, he went into it open-minded, hoping, beyond hope, he would have loved to have spoken to his mom. But also I think he was already had the kernels of skepticism, in the modern sense of the word, growing inside of him. And it really rubbed him the wrong way. The whole thing started when his mother inhabited the body of Mrs. Doyle, Lady Doyle, and made the sign of the cross, which a lifelong Jewish mother would never do. And apparently it went downhill from there. Oops. And it really rubbed him the wrong way, and he really resented it. And that led to the falling out of his friendship with Doyle, but also his all-out just war on spiritualism and spiritualists.
Yeah, I mean, he ended up in court. He testified in front of Congress in support of a bill that outlawed fortune-telling in D.C., and he specifically took on a lot of people, but Marjorie, the spiritualist Marjorie, Mina Crandon, was the wife of a Boston surgeon and pretty big in that movement. And he got together with Scientific American Magazine on a committee that they formed and exposed her basically, and even put out a pamphlet, a 40-page pamphlet called Houdini Exposes the Trick Used by the Boston Medium Marjorie.
Yeah, dude, it was a
very specific title.
It was a very public war between them. At one point, they had dueling stage presentations in Boston, which within days of each other. And Houdini finally got he was part of a committee for Scientific American who was looking to award $2,500 for evidence of actual mediumship. Of I guess actual information from the other side or whatever. And he saw to it that she didn't get that. She lost. But it was apparently a Harvard student who ended up unmasking her. He just wrote that pamphlet suggesting how she was probably doing it. And then also he added an act to his larger act, which was kind of like a seance, and he would explain how this was all being done, which is pretty cool.
It was cool. What wasn't cool was how he died.
Yeah.
Is that fair to say?
And I'm sure I've made fun of J. Gordon Whitehead before, but I'll do it again.
Yeah, so here's what happened. He fractured his ankle in a performance doing the Chinese water torture cell, and that kind of started this run of bad luck, if you believe in that kind of thing. So he fractured his ankle. He's already a little bit hobbled. His doctor said, you probably shouldn't be performing right now. He said, no, I'm going to do it anyway. I'm on tour. And he went to Montreal and gave a lecture at McGill University where he invited these students backstage. And, the story you've heard is true. Like hey, can you take a punch to the stomach? I've heard you can. Mm-hmm. And Houdini is laid up on the couch because of this ankle, says, yeah, I'm pretty good at that. And this guy, J. Gordon Whitehead, and this is a quote, it says, abruptly delivered 4 or 5 terribly forcible, deliberate, well-directed blows. Just started wailing on his stomach, apparently.
Yeah.
He wasn't ready for it. He wasn't tightened up or, didn't have those abs rock solid.
Right.
And it was decidedly uncool.
Yeah. Not magician cool, not Fonz cool, not cool by any definition. Apparently, that same witness said that Houdini was like, that'll do. was his response to that.
Really?
Yeah, and he tried to play it off, but he was like, that really hurt. And it just kept getting worse, too. Just that later that night, he had stomach cramps. The next day, he was racked with abdominal pain. And it was finally bad enough that he went to a doctor, and his doctor was like, I think you might have appendicitis. You should go to a hospital. And Houdini said, never, I have to perform tonight, and went on stage in Detroit and gave what ended up being his final performance, I think on October 24th, 1926, because that doctor was absolutely right. It was appendicitis, and he was in big trouble.
Yes, it was too late for him. It was a ruptured appendix. He died on Halloween on October 31st with Bess and a couple of his brothers at his bedside. And what's really what the debate is, there was a lot of debate over the years about whether or not he was murdered and had been being poisoned by the spiritualist, or whether the spiritualist hired this kid to go beat him up and wail on his stomach or whatever.
Biff.
Yeah, exactly. And I think most people that really know have come out and said none of that stuff is really true. That's really probably all speculation. But what the real question is whether or not it's possible, and whether or not those punches to the stomach actually ruptured his appendix, or did he already have an appendicitis happening? And this might have just brought it to light or exacerbated it, or just maybe it was just ill-timed all the way around.
Yeah, I think in our appendix episode, we landed on the idea that no, it definitely didn't rupture his appendix. And apparently there was a study that looked at 20 years worth of appendicitis and could only find just a handful of appendixes that were ruptured from like violence or trauma.
Yeah, like being hit.
So it can happen, but it's really rare. And even J. Gordon Whitehead, Biff, probably didn't rupture Houdini's appendix. But what he did do was he gave Houdini a good reason why his abdomen would hurt right there, and which would cause Houdini to just ignore it for longer than he otherwise might have, had it been a mystery sensation that he couldn't attribute it to anything. And so J. Gordon Whitehead probably did, at least indirectly, lead to Houdini's death, but it was a neglected appendix or appendicitis that finally got him. And he died of sepsis on Halloween in 1926 in Detroit, of all places.
Of all places?
Yeah.
So the kind of, to put a tag on the spiritualist thing, before he died, he told Bess, he was like, hey, listen, I've got an opportunity here if I'm about to die to really prove this spiritualism thing is really bunk, because I'm going to try from the other side to get back in touch with you. And you're going to have these seances and try and get in touch with me. And this is going to prove it once and for all. And for about a decade after his death, Bess did hold a seance. It never worked, of course. And she eventually quit. But the Magic Castle still has Houdini seances, I think every year. I don't know if you can just buy a special ticket or if you have to be invited to that. I know you have to be invited to get in, period, but I don't know how you get into that seance. You
got to know somebody who at least knows somebody who knows somebody.
Probably.
I want to make fun of that theory, though, one more time about spiritualism. So
sure.
There was a book called The Secret Life of Houdini, where the authors said that if one were to suspect Houdini a victim of foul play, the section of organized crime that was composed of fraudulent spirit mediums must be considered likely suspects. It's like something off a History Channel or something, you know?
Yeah. And fun to make fun of.
Yeah. You got anything else about Houdini?
I got nothing else.
All right. Well, I don't have anything else either, but there's plenty more to learn. There's tons of websites dedicated to Houdini. There's like lots of documentaries out there, and it's pretty cool to go check them out. And also check out that Gizmodo article. And since I misspoke Gizmodo, it's time for listener mail.
I'm going to call this another correction.
Okay, good.
They're rolling in lately.
Yeah, we're rolling in them.
Hey guys, just listen to the latest episode on criminal records. And we heard from quite a few people on this one, by the way. And as always, it was great stuff. However, I think Josh provided a bit of unfortunate misinformation in claiming that sex offenders have the highest rate of recidivism. While this is a common claim, the evidence does not support it. There are, as always, a lot of different variables, and the research on the topic notes that there are so many different factors here to consider, but the straight statement that sex offenders have been shown to have the highest recidivism rates of any criminal is not supported by the data. Anyway, there's a lot more research out there as well, but I think that the statement about recidivism rates reinforces the false belief among many that sex offenders are more likely to reoffend. Keep up the good work, Mike. And Mike's in a bunch of links that I went through, and it appears that is correct.
Yeah, got that one wrong, huh? So thanks to Mike and everybody who wrote in to say, it's not true because we don't want to paint anybody in an unnecessarily bad light.
Agreed.
Okay, if you want to be like Mike and get in touch with us with a correction, especially a vital correction, we love to hear those. And you can shoot us an email to stuffpodcast@iheartradio.com.
Stuff You Should Know is a production of iHeartRadio. For more podcasts from iHeartRadio, visit the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your favorite shows.
The next time you end up with something on your shirt, don't turn to your usual detergent. Check out Tide Evo. Tide Evo represents over 10 years of innovation in product development. It's a revolutionary 100% concentrated waterless laundry tile made of compressed microfiber soap layers rather than liquid or powder. It's not pods and it's not sheets. It uses 6 layers of detergent fibers to deliver superior cold water cleaning without plastic packaging. It's mess-free, lightweight, and dissolves quickly. Try new Tide Evo. Real laundry magic.
Hey, quick question for the parents listening right now. When's the last time your kid asked for something and you actually felt good saying yes? Because lately, a lot of families have been hearing the same thing. Can I have Lingo Kids, please?
And here's the thing. Lingo Kids is the #1 entertainment platform for young kids with more than 4,000 interactive games, songs, and shows. Astronauts, wild animals, superheroes, dinosaurs. It's literally everything kids love all in one place.
So when they ask for it, you can actually feel good saying yes. Download Lingo Kids for free and start exploring today, or unlock even more amazing content with Lingo Kids Plus. And if you go with the yearly plan, you can save up to 60%. Just search Lingo Kids in the App Store or Google Play. Lingo Kids, everything kids love. You know, you could be adored by everyone and still completely ignored by your cat. Trust me, I know. But if you feed your cat Sheba, you can go from being ignored to truly adored in 12 days guaranteed or your money back. Sheba has a full menu of products, appetizers, entrees, treats, even a kitten's menu. It's so cute, so Sheba has a product for even the pickiest eater. Like Sheba Puree, it's made with bone broth, they're chef-inspired flavors, it's got a smooth and creamy texture that cats love, and contains no corn, wheat, soy, or artificial flavors. It's food that your cat's gonna love. To learn more, check out Sheba.com. That's SHEBA.com.
Service opens doors, and at American Military University, it can open doors for the whole family. If you have a loved one who served in the military, you may qualify for reduced tuition. AMU offers flexible online programs designed to fit your schedule, so you can keep moving forward wherever life takes you. Learn more at amu.apus.edu/military. Open doors to the future for you and your family with the help of American Military University.
This is an iHeart podcast. Guaranteed human.